Hi everyone, it's Finley from Mind Mechanics again. Hope you're doing well and making good progress with yourselves. Remember, you can reach me on finleysmindmechanics@gmail.com. That's finleysmindmechanics@gmail.com. I'm going to make 3 podcasts in a row. There's 3 things I want to talk about. First thing, I'm going to talk about alcohol and drugs and how this can help you with that. Then I'm going to talk about techniques that you can use internally, like mantras and ways to use already established neural networks to fire up the brain and then branch off of that and get what you want. And also I want to tell you about a dream that I had last night. So we're going to start with the alcohol, so these will be 3 separate ones. So I used this technique, right, to kick all addictions. I'm not going to go into them. Used it to control my temper, used it to be in a better mood, used it to beat depression. So this can literally be used for anything. And if you're maybe just catching this podcast, I'm going to quickly tell you about the loop. So I'll keep reiterating it because I want you to really get this locked in. It's so important. You have a conscious and unconscious mind. You have a conscious thought. If you want to go in more detail, you have to go back to some of the podcasts, but we're just going to branch on it and go through it quickly. Conscious thought process, that passes to the unconscious mind. And the unconscious mind enables the physical body to take action. So the unconscious thought passes over, the body will release protons, chemicals, hormones in line with the thought process. Good, bad, sexual, angry, whatever. It just gets the body ready. Those enter your physical body and that causes you to have a feeling. And the feeling will dictate your personality in that moment, okay? You have an overall personality, but will dictate your personality in that moment. Now that personality is going to dictate your personal reality, and how it does that is because the mood you're in, or the feeling you're in, will determine how you interact with the world and the universe and the people and things in it. Something that's annoying you one day you won't even notice it the next day, depending on your mood, right? So that's how it works. So your personal reality then dictates how you experience the world at large, universe at large, which then will create, that experience will create a thought, which you're then at the back of the loop. Your original thought, unconscious mind, hormones, chemicals, proteins released into the body, feeling, personality, personal reality, experience, thought, okay? So if you get that right, you can feel amazing. So anyway, that's the loop. I call it a thought circle. I made that up myself, but you can call it whatever you like. So with alcohol and drug addictions, people always refer to themselves, and I think there's 12 steps, which are mostly based on believing in God, but there's probably some other non-religious ones, but I personally don't think you need them. If they work, whatever works for you, and that's the right path, okay? This can work for anything. So they never, most of them, I don't say everyone because you can't say everyone for everything. Most people never stop saying I'm a recovering drug addict, I'm a recovering alcoholic. Now, I would never say I'm a recovering anything, and I'll tell you why, because why would you want to keep living in the past representation of yourself? Because you keep that alive by referring to it. I'm recovering, so you're constantly in recovery, you're constantly in the past, you constantly have not moved on. That's really what you're saying to yourself. But I understand that they say, that you can never recover from something. And in a sense it's true, because even if you use my technique, or it's not my technique, but I'm just refining it and I'm trying to make it more understandable for the average person, if you like. I want to bring this to the masses instead of people who are focused on chakras and God and spirituality and stuff. Not everybody gets that. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I want people to get it on a basic terms, a really simple way that anyone, from someone who doesn't believe in God to someone who believes God rules everything in their life, can get. So they say you can never fully recover from alcohol because there's no cure for it. Well, the cure is there. Everything is here. Everything is in the mind. Because drugs and alcohol, they're out of your system 7 days to 2 weeks for the most extreme hard stuff, yeah? Physically, it's gone. Yeah, you've fired up receptors in the brain. Now, understand, like I was going to say, I understand why they say you've never recovered, because even if you use my technique to lay down, sorry, I'm calling it my technique, excuse me, that term, right? Use this technique. You lay down a new personality, positive personality, which is a positive thought loop that we spoke about. So even if you lay that down, the neural network and the memory of your old self will always be there. And yes, we can kill it, right? And as much as we don't exercise it anymore, but it can be resurrected at any time. So don't get confused and think that it's completely gone, because even the worst memories, I said to you before, you struggle to remember them, but if you try hard enough, you're going to remember anything, right? But we don't want to, so we want to leave it. When you give it energy, when you give it attention, that's how you give it power. And then the neural network fires up and you'll be straight back there before you know it. So we don't want to give it anything, okay? We don't even tell it, thank you for showing up. We don't push it away, we just ignore it like it doesn't exist. We don't, because there'll be an energy transference. Energy has to go somewhere. If you're using energy to look at something or think about something, there's an energy made there, and that will be transferred. It has to go somewhere, and you're going to feed that thing. We don't want to do that. So, yes, in a sense, you're always recovering, but you don't want to keep that mindset. You want to leave that behind. Forget you're an alcoholic. Forget you're a drug addict, or whatever it is, addicted to antidepressants, opioids, whatever. Cannabis, porn, whatever the hell the thing was that was keeping you chained, yeah, that you were using as a crux. Because a lot of people, they have a lot of pain inside and they don't know how to deal with it, and we're not taught, and this can do that for you, by the way. So we drown it out with movies or some other, or a drug or alcohol, because it numbs us and takes us away. We get escapism. So that is always going to be there. You're always going to be able to go back to being an alcoholic, a drug addict, a negative person. The point is, practice being the other way. Forget about that. Don't even give it a time of day. And you should look back on yourself and be a different person. And that saying, when I say don't even give it the time of day, it reminded me of that, because I wouldn't give myself the time of day, my old self. I wouldn't have anything in common with him. We wouldn't have the same opinions. We wouldn't be able to sit and have a conversation. I haven't got time for small talk, little talk over a coffee, really. I'm interested in self-improvement and important things in the world. That's what my conversations are based around. I really struggle with small talk. I haven't got any interest in it. I'm interested in helping people. I'm interested in improving myself, and thus sharing that journey with my fellow humans so that they can hopefully get something out of it, improve themselves, make their life better. Not everything I say is going to ring true with you, and not everything I say is, you're going to feel, some of it you're going to think is rubbish, and some of it is going to hit home. And that's a good point, because you should listen to lots of different people anyway, and I listen to lots of people, and some of the stuff I like, and I take it and I use it, or I change it, or I think about it, and some of the stuff I don't agree with, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine, but try and find the things, the tools that work for you, okay? So you're always going to be that person. It's always going to be there in the background, asleep. Well, that's where we want to leave it. But alcohol and drugs, like I said, they're out of your system by the most 2 weeks, so physically they're gone. After that, it's all mental. And what's happening is, you get that little voice come up, or something hard happens, and it puts stress on you. That is one of the first things we need to tackle, because we can't let external things affect how we feel internally, because then we lean back on those cruxes, yeah, those addictions. And when that little voice comes, have a drink, have a smoke, do this, do a line, whatever it is, have a pipe, watch a bit of porn, whatever the thing is that you were chained to, you need to, as I said, don't even try and push it away. You just ignore it. Just ignore it, don't even give it attention. And think about where you want to be and who you want to be and focus on that. And when you imagine it, you have to really imagine it to the point where you believe in it. It's not, it is, some people say faking it, and if you hear me saying faking it till you make it works for you, then do that. But I do believe it till I make it, So I really believe what I'm thinking is real. I make it real in my mind. And to the point where you're hopefully tasting it, and in your mind you're fabricating other characters, and they're coming to you and you're having a conversation with them based on your new self. So you've got to convince the mind that this is a reality, because it doesn't know the difference between a thought and reality. So we use that thought, imagination, to convince the body that we're having a real experience, which passes to the subconscious. She will enact the physical body by releasing positive hormones, chemicals, and proteins, which will give you a feeling, So you'll feel better, you'll have a better personality, you'll have a better personal reality, better experience, better thought. You've got yourself in a positive circle. And that's basically how it's done. Now, alcohol is literally poison. No living thing, cell for cell, can go in alcohol and survive, as far as I know. Especially we can. It destroys everything, and it will destroy you. And drugs will do the same eventually. If you was to expose all your cells in your body to alcohol at one time, you'd immediately die. Now, you might think, well, how can I drink it and put it on my hands? Well, you put it on your hands, we've got an oil barrier and water and that on our skin, and our skin is a barrier to keep things out from getting internal. So there is some destruction there, but there's also some resistance. It's not coming in direct contact with your DNA or cells or anything, but when you drink it, it is poisoning you and it is killing your cells. But the body is amazing. Every second, the body's making around 4 million new cells in your body. 4 million. And in a day, that's like 330 billion cells a day it's replacing. So that's how you're able to do this. Doesn't mean it's okay, right? And when you abuse it, obviously, it's even worse. But no one should drink any alcohol. It's literal poison. It's literally poison. That's it. It shouldn't even be for sale. There's no question. It kills. It kills life. So when you get in a positive mindset and you learn to ignore those little voices, okay, and don't give them any weight, because they're the ones that get you drinking again or taking drugs again. It's not physical anymore. It's a mental, and it's habitual, and it's become an underlying program that you're not even conscious of, because you're not sitting there and going, do you know what, I really fancy a drink. Sometimes you might, but you're not sitting there most of the time if you're trying to get off drink or drugs and going, I really want to do this, and then making it really hard for yourself. It's whispering into you, little voice, spliff would be nice, shot of whiskey would be nice, whatever it is. And that's coming in on its own, because there's an unconscious program, habitual program that's run, and the brain will run as many as habits as possible to save on energy, because it's got so much processing to do. It'll run lots of unconscious stuff, like all your heartbeat and your digestive system and everything else. That's amazing things that are going on in your body without even thinking about them. It's running all those unconscious programs, and it will make things that you practice or do a lot habitual and unconscious, like driving a car or any other skill you've got. And you need to be aware of that. The fight is because you're running an unconscious program. So you become aware of the program and start to ignore it, tell it you don't want it. Now this is where we're going to get into some techniques, which I'm going to do in the next video, and I can tell you there's different ways you can do that. And things will be different for other people. Some people need to do it from a place of love, and some guys and even girls won't get that at all, and they'll want to do it from a place of aggression, and that can also be a useful tool. There's lots of ways to come at this, okay? There's many paths up to the mountain where we all come to the point and meet at the same place. So don't let anybody tell you there's this way and must be that way, because people will do that, and a lot of the time that's just ego, or they've been led astray, or a lot of the time people really want to believe that there's more, you know? And there might be, but as far as I'm concerned, the only person responsible for how you feel and your interaction with the world is yourself. If someone calls you names, they're just words, and the words do hold vibrations, and it's been proven like there can be a negative intention in the vibration, but you're a human being also. So if another human being is using vibrational negative words towards you and calling you names, you can choose to accept that or not, or you can just ignore it. And that is a skill in itself, and you can start to use that in life. Something really bad happens, you get a knot in your stomach, and I'm so stressed about this thing. How much worrying can you do and have an outcome? 0 is the answer. It doesn't matter how many days, hours, minutes, months, years you spend on a subject worrying about it, you won't change the outcome, only action. So you can either think about it, make a decision, put it to bed, and that will keep throwing it back up to you. You just say, no, I've made a decision on that, thank you, you know, and let it go. If you're have to make a decision on something that's very stressful, if it's something that's very stressful, you don't want to give any attention or make a decision on, you ignore it. Replace it with pull up a positive memory, something fun that happened. And again, if you've missed my other podcasts, make it up, because the mind doesn't know the difference between reality and imagination. So make up something that's happy. And then I'm going to teach you some techniques in the next one, because a lot of people struggle with how to make something up, you know. Maybe you've been in a bad place for a long time, or maybe you just literally can't bring up what you want to bring up, happiness or love or joy or peace or gratitude. You can't fabricate it in your mind, you don't know where to start. And it's all right, people saying, all you need to do is feel happy and then you'll be happy, but until you know how to do that, until someone gives you some tools and shows you the way a little bit, then that can seem impossible. So that's all I wanted to say really on drugs and alcohol, because if you put your mind to it, and a lot of the old sayings, you know, they do, I like a lot of the old sayings, because when you really think about them, we repeat them a lot of the times, and we don't really understand the true meaning or the origin of them. It's like mind over matter is what I was going to say to you. You know, just we throw them out there, but if you really think about them, there's a lot of wisdom in the past, and we're in a time where, to be honest with you, ignorance is a choice. We've got all this technology. I don't like all of it all the time, but you've got to use things for what good you can use them for, and then we can communicate and we can share with each other, and we can elevate our consciousness. And if that doesn't ring with you and it sounds, you know, new age and airy fairy, we can just make each other feel better by sharing our knowledge and experiences of life and tools and ways to make each other feel better. So I'm going to stop there. I'm going to do one next about some of these tools, so please catch the next podcast to learn some techniques that will hopefully work for you. Speak to you soon. All the best, Finley.